Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're taking a look at the Rocks Pirate over in some regular content, taking them into Heavenly Demon 2 as well as Revolutionary Army 2, seeing how they rock, seeing how they roll, and seeing the buffs they bring to the Striker-based team. The addition of this character in the game gives Strikers a massive buff. They also buff Strength and Powerhouse as a leader, but primarily you want to be running Striker-based characters when it comes to the team building of this particular character. They bring a lot of power. They can get up to an 8.54 captain, I believe, or maybe it's like 8.4 times, depending on how the math checks out. But if you have two of these guys as captain, like, the amount of damage you can get just purely with your captains is pretty damn nuts. They increase the chance of landing on recovery orbs. They make them matching. That's pretty much it, though. Or they have a little bit of utility. Let's say that's pretty much it in terms of like the prowess of what the captain is. It doesn't really have any like bind removal, despair removal, prowess removal, anything like that. But what the character does have is damage reduction removal. 1 time per quest. If the enemy puts up any damage reduction, you set it to 0% for however many turns they put up for. So if they put up like 99 turns of damage reduction at say 99% damage reduction, you basically just set it to 0% for the 99 turns, which is ridiculously strong. It's a very powerful ability to just sort of negate one of the enemy's effects, and as long as it pops up once in the quest, which stereotypically it will, like in the like shorter content like Kazuna and whatnot, you'll only see it pop up one time. Like, this character just works so well for Heavenly Demon 2 too, by the way. So like if you guys are struggling with Heavenly Demon 2 and you pick up this particular unit, like it's gonna make your life so much easier. But I digress. As long as the content only has the damage reduction once, like that's where you're going to see the most value out of it. Downside is if they throw damage reduction on turn 2, and then you want it to proc for turn 3, it's obviously going to proc for turn 2. But look, that's probably going to be a pretty niche situation where that actually works. They also have a very interesting part of their captain ability that if you get below 20% of your HP, and the enemy, and you use a special, they apply an 80% damage reduction as well as give you HP guard for 3 turns. So very cool stuff. Obviously, the new Kaido works exceptionally well with them. Kaido cuts your HP by 85%, puts you below the 20% threshold, does everything that Kaido does, has a Super Tandem to activate their Super Tandem boost, as well as being a Rocks Pirate, so he obviously gets a massive attack buff. And then he triggers the HP guard and the damage reduction. His Super Tandem gives you that damage reduction conversion buff, which obviously turns the 80% damage reduction into a 1.4 times attack boost. I didn't include him in today's video just because I don't have limit break materials, so I don't actually have him limit broken, so I don't even have his Super Tandem available, which is a bit of a bummer, but we will talk about some good Super Tandem options when we get to the Heavenly Demon 2 part of this particular video. Taking on Revolutionary Army 2, it's getting it done, no stall, with new characters can be quite challenging when the characters don't have any utility, especially when you're rocking 2 of them, and I do find that this is usually a really good test to see like how well the character performs and how easy it is to team build. Rocks is definitely going to be like an end game character, but in the same sense, I probably could have gone away from just pure striker-based teams and tried to run something else. But look, it did take me a little while to sort of put this team together and sort of fine-tune it to exactly how I wanted it to be for the content's sake. But because there is no utility in the captain besides the damage reduction removal, the content obviously doesn't have damage reduction, or it puts it up, like I said earlier, than what you would need it in, say, longer form content. It is going to be a bit of an issue, but as just like a standalone super powerful captain, like the character's a beast, like an absolute monster beast. But again, like I said, you have access to strength characters, you have access to powerhouse characters as well that you can definitely run on the team. As for their limit break ability that they did bring, the Super Tandem buff, it's a bit of a bummer because to get the Super Tandem buff, they need to be striker, and then they either need to be any of the what's it called? They need to be like Paramecia type, and then they also need to be like part of either the Rocks Pirates, Whitbeard Pirates, Olin Pirates, or the Gold Line Pirates. So very tricky to do. Very tricky to do. There is one particular character that does stand out besides obviously the new Kaido. He's definitely one that is going to work the best. You do have Super Tandem Kid, who I'll showcase in the second part of this video as well. And his stocks just rise infinitely with this particular character because his Super Tandem is pretty easy to get. You can obviously use the Heat and Wire character. They're a striker. Or you can literally just use any Strength Luffy or any Powerhouse Luffy, like in Gear 5 Luffy, for example. You can easily just throw them on the team as well. So you can do some pretty fun stuff in that regard too. I wanted to try and include Verse Law in some content too, because like strikers do have a rush character, so Verse Law can be pretty powerful as the first tapper, and then just sort of build into, say, a Super Tandem with, for example, Super Tandem Kid, hitting with like a heat and wire, or like I said, or you kind of need 6 strikers for law to work, so you really have to use heat and wire. You would then go into something like Kid, activate the Super Tandem, activate the Super Tandem boost, and then move into the rest of the team and whatever that looks like. Or you'd be looking at using something like Kaido and getting his Super Tandem off for the damage reduction conversion buff. He's only a 1.5 times attack boost, which is a little bit lower than Kid. I believe Kid's 2 times. But that damage reduction conversion buff obviously makes up for it. But strikers have access to so many Yamatos in the game, so you could probably find a way to get the damage reduction conversion buff on the team by using something like Verse Yamato, for example. So it sort of depends on what your team makeup looks like that. But strikers, look, this character definitely helps them out a lot. It's definitely going to be one moving forward that you're always going to run with strikers, and obviously with Roger Rayleigh Gaban in the game as well, like the 2 characters together for striker-based teams is going to go absolutely crazy. I didn't include Roger Rayleigh Gaban in this particular video just because I'm going to give them their own separate video, and I don't want them to sort of overlap and sort of take each other's thunder, but they're both very good together. And the reason they're so good together is that Roger Rayleigh Gaban can set threshold to 0, where this character can set damage reduction to 0, as I mentioned, as a captain. Their special is ridiculously strong. It gives an orb buff. You rotate the left column to Semler slots, the right-hand column to tandem orbs. They don't make tandem orbs matching, but they do make Semler slots matching, which is a bit of a problem because, like, you don't have matching orbs in the right-hand column. You need to sort of bring someone or something to make them matching. But at the same time, it does obviously work really well for Super Tandem, which, therefore, they would get their Super Tandem boost with. If you already have an orb buff, it can buff it up to a 4.5 times orb boost, and then you also apply a striker territory for 3 turns and get a set target. The striker territory is an all-the-time thing. Should have prefaced that, but the setting set target will only proc if you have an orb boost live. Now, characters that can give orb boost with switch effects are going to be incredibly powerful under this particular character. Also, supports that can give like any orb boost, say on the final stage, like a 1.3 times orb boost. This particular character can say, nah, it's now a 4.5 times orb boost, and then get the set target ability and the territory off as well. So really, really powerful stuff. If you don't have an orb boost, obviously they just give an orb boost. They give you matching orbs, obviously with the Semler slots on the left-hand side, which is very good when you are using an orb booster. And then if you're using something like Kid or Verse Law, they can actually be your attack booster for the team, which works incredibly well as well. But on top of that, they have some pretty niche utility. They can remove 3 turns of damage nullification, as well as removing 6 turns of an attack down if you're above a certain chain. I believe it's above. I'm pretty sure it's above. It might be below, but I'm 90% certain that it's above. So some really niche utility, some good orb manipulation, goes through block orbs. They give pretty good damage numbers with an orb boost. Obviously, if you run 2 of them, one of them can be your orb boost, the other one can be the set target, increase the orb boost as well. Do some really fun stuff there. The characters like Uta, for example, are going to be really, really strong because like Uta can be your attack booster, then be your orb booster, then you increase that orb boost, apply the set target. Like the characters like Verse Law, Super Tandem Kid. Super Tandem Kid especially, man. Like Super Tandem Kid is going to be really, really strong, purely because of the fact that he is one of the only Super Tandems that work alongside this particular character. You can also then use, like I said, Heat and Wire, depending on what you need Heat and Wire for, but they are a conditional booster. And with something like Verse Law, for example, you can set defense to 0. Kid's Super Tandem also sets defense to 0, so I can do some fun stuff there. Now, over in Heavily Doing 2, this is like the perfect place to showcase this particular character. As you can see, we used the Lucy special when our HP was below 20%. We now have the damage reduction and then the 3 turns of HP guard, which works very, very nicely. As you guys saw on turn 1, we had the Super Tandem boost. I had to show off that animation. The Super Tandem boost animations are always so clean. Like, it's just, I love that they added that into the game. Just looks so damn good. On top of that, the Rocks do have an EX as well. Now, I can only use this captain. And to get it, you either need 3 characters on the team, being like Kaido's, Rogers, all of that kind of stuff. But there is another way to get it, and all you have to do is to overheal. And with the release of the new Saturn, he obviously can apply overheal mechanic, which is pretty strong. You just need to bring Navy characters. But with the old school waifus, the very first anniversary exclusive, I don't actually, yeah, they were the first anniversary exclusive. They can actually give you overheal as well. And they're a striker. They're a color free booster striker. They give cooldowns for strikers. They're attack down, paralysis remover. Absolutely fantastic sub for this particular character. You just use their special. It gives you access to their EX. And then from there, you're pretty much good to go. The EX is going to remove 10 turns of slot bind, as well as give you a 50% resistance for striker-based characters. Now, if you remember what old mate Saturn's doing, he's doing the 50% for Driven. So if you're running this character with Saturn and hybriding the 2 of them up, you can get the 50% Driven, 50% Striker, and then Saturn is just hitting like a goddamn freight train while you still got an orb boost. And Saturn can increase that orb boost by 1.5 times. So you can do some pretty gnarly stuff with those two characters together as well. And then obviously with all the striker synergy that they've been sort of coming out with over the last couple of months, well, not the last couple of months, last couple of weeks, I should say, you can do some pretty nasty stuff there. But strikers, look, they're definitely not the best team in the game. But look, getting some extra buffs for them is always nice. I do like the fact that the rocks are pretty niche. They're a character that is going to suffer from the same problem that Saturn does, where I can see this character being a lot better in the future when we get more characters with the rocks pyro tags, with more strikers that have super tandems that are also paramecia types and stuff like that. But until that particular point, we're going to really be stuck with this like super powerful character that's kind of carrying the class alongside some other very powerful units too. But let me know what you guys think of the character in the comment section below. Pretty good unit, honestly, overall. I definitely think they're going to be very, very valuable in pretty niche pieces of content. I can feel like the treasure map, they're going to be like exceptional. Probably against some Kazuna classes, they're going to be pretty strong as well. And when strikers or powerhouse and strength characters need a unit that can remove stuff like damage nullification and that really niche attack down buff, like this character is definitely going to shine. But like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. While you're down there, like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. Best of luck to everyone that's still summoning. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.